fine day. Today we will be looking into the concept of conditions of equilibrium and compatibility in analysis of determinate structures. Okay, when understanding this concept, equilibrium and compatibility, we should know two things which are in all design. These are loads and forces. Okay, so what does an analysis do? What does an structural analyst or a structural engineer do? There will be a structure which you have to construct. In order to construct that, you should make a model, that is a mathematical model. See, this is the representation of an exact structure. There are two floors apart from the basement, and if you want to build a structure like this, construction satisfy the purpose of its use. If it's for residential purpose, then whatever might be the case, an external, it might be a cyclone, flood, earthquake, if he is residing in his house, then all the forces which is happening around the building should not affect the building, so that the people will be safe. Construction of residential house. Okay, so what are the things which affect the structure? What can cause this structure to collapse? So if we look into that perspective, then we have to look into the concept of loads and forces. You can put whatever the material you have and you can construct, but there will be loss of, there will be excessive material usage, there may be insufficient material usage. So there might be two causes. You should know what is the optimum amount of material which should be used in order to construct and in order to use the structure for specific period. Say for example 70 years, 100 years, your structure can stand for that much of years, even though there are many environmental changes or internal structural changes, your structure should not collapse. So this should be your aim. So in order to make that kind of a structure, what you have to do is you have to analyze the things. First thing is loads. What are the loads acting in a structure? If you look into that, the Indian standard gives two classes, that are dead load and imposed load. So first case is dead load. If we are taking dead load into discussion, these loads are permanent components of a structure. See, if you want to build a structure, you should provide a roof. It cannot be shifted or it cannot be changed from one side to another side. It is a permanent structure. It is a permanent member till the service of this structure. Okay. Then you have walls and then you have floor. So these components cannot be changed. So it cannot be shifted. These are all permanent objects. So the load coming from those objects are called dead loads. Generally floor load, wall and roof load, everything come into account during a dead load. And other immovable parts, say for example a soil, if you are constructing a basement of in a structure, so in this basement there will be a soil force which is acting in those basement area and in the ground floor basement. These loads has to be also taken into account as dead load. These loads cannot be changed. It is immovable. Hence these are all called immovable loads. You have to consider these loads and construct a structure. Okay. Then other thing is, yes, when discussing in detail, you can read IS 875 Part 1 code book. This is specially meant for dead loads, force for buildings and structures. Here in this code book, you can see the unit weight of each and every material and stored material. So whatever you can store here, say for example in the structure, you can store water, or you can store sewage water, or you can moving component. It may be bags, it may be load of sand, whatever might be. So these loads and these stored materials weight are given here. So if you want to construct a house, then whatever material is possible to construct, all the materials are given here in IS 875. So if you want to quantify a load, so you should know what is the weight of that material. So majorly we will be constructing, the first component is building materials. Whatever may be the building material you are using, all the dead weights are given here. The aggregate, either you are using fine aggregate or coarse aggregate, and bitumen, you are using bitumen for roads, and brick for construction of walls, cast iron pipes for designing a building by using steel elements, and for all the non-structural components also. See the foam slag, glass, expanded metal, pipes, plaster, sheeting, not only the structural things, the pipes are used for conveying the water to all the places in a house. And in the next part, they have given cement concrete, that is plain cement concrete and reinforced cement concrete. Here you can see the earth fill. In the previous example, there is a soil. So if you want to know the dead weight of the soil, you can find the dead weight in the earth filling. And cement concrete for plain and reinforced cement concrete, for everything the unit weight of building material is given. And also for stores, for miscellaneous materials, you can use this code book. So as a civil engineer, you have to read at least once this code book in order to understand the variations of different building materials, variation of loads for different building materials. Next concept is imposed load. So these are the force that can act on a structure in the use of a building. So when you construct a building, there will be a dead load. When you use that structure, if people are moving around, if you are start manufacturing the components, then there will be loads during this usage. So that is why these loads are called imposed load. So due to the nature of use, activity of use to the people. Say for example, if you are building a library structure, there will be large number of book racks, and there will be a crowd of people who are constrained in a particular area, and for these purposes there will be separate kind of a imposed load, that is live load. If you are using for residential purpose, in a single BHK house, you will be having maximum of 6 to 8 people. So taking into consideration where the load in those 1 BHK house is for, these loads are considered as imposed load, and activities due to people and machineries, installation, external natural forces, etc. Okay. So what are these imposed loads? So Indian standard has given a separate part for each and every imposed load. That is, first thing is live load, which is detailed explained in IS 875 in part 2. So the part 1 discusses the dead load, which we discussed earlier, and part 2 discusses live load, and 875 part 3 how to calculate the wind load for a building. In the previous example, we have only considered the dead loads, the component members, and why this structure is used. Say for example, if any external force, that is wind, is flow becomes cyclone, what happens? It adds an additional load to the structure. So if you want to quantify how much the wind can affect the structure, so if you want to do that, you can look into the IS 875 part 3. And for earthquake force, that is seismic force, if you want to construct a house in order to resist earthquake event, then you have to use IS 1893, the latest revision, in order to resist for that force and for snow load. So in major part of India, in southern part of India, you will be not having that much of effect of snow load, but in northern part of India and other northern countries, so you will be having snow load. So this is a major load which has to be considered along with the dead load, live load, and snow load has to be considered in each and every hill places or the place you have heavy snowfall. So this should be mandatory. But if you have tropical and equatorial places, then these snow load are very less or negligible to consider. So if you want to consider this, you can discuss, you can look into the part 4 of IS 875. So the beauty of Indian country is across the north, across the borders of India, you can see the extreme climate conditions. In northern part of India, you can see snowfall nearly 5 to 6 months. So there will be a different climate condition around 10 degree to minus 10 or 20 degree. So in southern part of India to the extreme Kanyakumari, you can see dry or tropical region where you don't find any snowfall, where you will find large seashore, and you will be having dry climates there. And you can see all the climates, and India is a country where you can find all the climatic conditions around the world in a single country. If you visit England, so this is a beautiful place to live. Okay, with this note, the loads imposed by rain. So a place where you are constructing, you will be having rainfall. If the rainfall is heavy and it is considerable, some places in world does have rainfall more than 3 to 4 months. So in those places you have to consider the rain load and also soil and hydrostatic force. If you are building a construction below the ground level, then you have to consider the soil force. Why? Because if you are going below the soil, then the soil will be surrounded in external part of your structure. So you will be dealing with soil and hydrostatic force for retaining walls and for large piers. These foundations will be dealing with the soil and hydrostatic forces and erection loads and other forces. The erection loads are for prefabricated components. If you are building a structure by using these prefabricated materials, while carrying those material from plant where it is manufactured to the place where it is constructed, you have to carry those members. All the members will be installed in a particular site. The restaurant is being constructed less than 24 hours. So whatever the McDonald's is a shop where you can find similarity in construction. Wherever you go, the components, the way it is built and the way the appearances, everything will be similar. So 24 hour. How? So the concrete itself need 28 days to cure. So how they are constructing? By using this prefabricated element. All the components will be made earlier, only the assemblage is required. So you can make the in very less time. Okay, so the IS 875 part 2 is being discussed here, that is imposed load. Let me highlight something. So all the in the tables you can see occupancy classification. If you are constructing a residential building and dwelling house, if this is your case, all the rooms and kitchen should be taken as uniformly distributed load, that is UDL, of 2 kilonewton per meter square. In the common rooms and kitchen you can take 2 kilonewton per meter square, and if you want to take any concentrated load you can take 1.8 kilonewton, and for toilet and bathroom you can take 2 kilonewton per meter square, and corridors and passages where people move, where the quantity of people will be more in those areas, the staircases and escapes and storeroom, you have to take 3 kilonewton per meter square. The load is increased here. See, this Indian standard gives a good assumption for analyzing and designing a structure. So if you want to build a residential house, you can take this load as the imposed load or live load, and you can start your construction. And if you are building a hotel, hostel, boarding houses, lodging house, dormitories, residential clubs, in these cases living room, bedroom and dormitories should be taken as 2 kilonewton per meter square, and in those case you can see storerooms have higher load, that is 5 kilonewton per meter square. In case of a residential house you can see 3 kilonewton per meter square, and you can find the difference according to the purpose of use. According to the occupancy characteristics, these loads is being changed. So you have to consider this, you have to take load from this code book and proceed the analysis. Okay, so now coming into the part of equilibrium condition. Okay, we have to build a house and it should not collapse, it should not fail, and what you have to do is you have to consider all the loads, what are the loads acting in a structure, and then the external components is over. What happens when these force act into your structure, and what happens internal the structure? Say for example, if you are building a wall, if wind is wind force is applied, what happens inside the wall? If wind force is applying in a roof, what happens inside the roof? Where the material is stressed heavily, where it is failing. So these identifications and quantifications are being done by using equilibrium condition. So equilibrium condition of an object exists when Newton's first law is valid. So throughout this world, Newton's first law is valid. So you can apply for any external action. An object is in equilibrium in a reference coordinate system when all the external forces, including moments acting on it, are balanced. So if you want to make your building a stable structure, all the external force has to be taken by your beam, column and your structure, and it should safely transfer the load to the ground. So then you have to consider this equilibrium condition. What are the conditions? So these conditions are given here. Summation of f of x, this is suffix x, equals 0. So sum of all forces which is acting, sum of all vertical forces acting in a member should be 0. These vertical forces can be downward or upward. See, this is a beam. This beam carries load, the external load F in downward direction, and your structure should resist this load. This is in upward direction. So this is considered in the sum of f of x equals 0 and sum of f of y equals 0 in the sense sum of all horizontal forces should be equal to 0. It can be force which is acting in right hand side direction or left hand side direction. If external force is acting at right hand side direction and your resistance should be in left hand direction. So all left and right hand side direction, that is in all 360-degree, it has to be 0. The external and internal forces should be 0 and sum of f of z. So the z direction, so that is the third dimension. F of x is one dimension, that is upward and downward, and f of y is left and right, and other dimension is f of z. So you have three dimensions. So whatever might be the forces which is acting in all three dimensions should be equal to 0. And the next thing is sum of moment. So the moment which is acting in vertical direction should be 0, moment which is acting in horizontal direction should be 0, moment which is acting in the other side of horizontal direction, that is mz, should be equal to 0. So this is known as equilibrium equation. So if the external forces which is acting in structure equals the internal resistance of your structure, if it is 0, then your structure can withstand the forces which is acting around. So this is known as equilibrium condition. So these equilibrium equations describe how stress can vary within a body. If F is the force which is acting in a beam like this, when you find bending moment and shear force of this beam, you can find where the stresses are maximum, where it can fail. So where you have to concentrate in order to safeguard your structure. So this can be identified. So all because of this equilibrium equation. This equation is not only applied for buildings, it is applied for viscous fluids, plastics and all elastic bodies. So in this category, whatever might be, so for an aerodynamics, equilibrium equation is required. For aeronautical students, it is required. For mechanical students, it is required. So if you want to deal with Newton oriented concepts, so at these places the equilibrium condition is required. Okay. The next important topic is compatibility condition. So the equilibrium deals with forces. I discussed external force and internal force. But the compatibility conditions are mathematical conditions. They are particular in deformation. So these properties concentrate on deformation. If you apply some force, what will happen? The structure will deform. Say for example, this is a continuous beam. If a load is applied, P, a load is applied, then the deflection happens. So you should construct a house which should be capable of handling external forces. Also, this material should be in elastic. So the elastic condition is very much important. So that is why in this point, the compatibility equation brings information on the elastic response of a body. The equation of equilibrium do not. So this is the difference. What is compatibility and equilibrium equation? So the equilibrium equation brings forces. The compatibility equation brings elastic property to a material. So what is elastic property? See, if you apply a force, then you will be having a deflection. So you will be having a theta here. You will be having an angle of rotation. So this angle of rotation will be equal and opposite to the other side. So at the support B, you will be having two members. That is B to A and B to C. The angle created at BA will be equal to the angle created at BC. So this is theta, this is a theta. So you will be having two thetas here. So these two thetas will be equal. So this is known as elastic. So if there is any force which is applied here, if an angle of, say for example, it is deflecting to 10 degree and this member B to C will be in a deflection of 10 degree. So note that the material should be linear and it should be with the same material, same size and same Young's modulus. It should be equal in all respects, then it will be equal. So the concept of elasticity is taken into account here. The strain of all elements of a body must be compatible so that all the elements fit together. The compatibility conditions can be expressed in terms of strains. So stresses are force oriented concept, strain are deformation oriented concept. So for deformation, this strain concept holds here. Better for 2D problems or displacement better for 3D problems. So the same concept is being explained in the next picture. Okay, there is a relationship between equilibrium and compatibility. So this is what the picture which gives the overall scenario. The force and stresses, these two concepts are known as equilibrium equation. Displacement and strain are called compatibility equation. So this equation binds these two things and equilibrium equation binds forces and stresses. And there is another two relation, that is constitutive relation. There is a relationship between stresses and strain. This is known as constitutive relationship, and there is a strain displacement relationship. So these are the other concepts. So there is, if you identify stress in an object and we can able to identify the strain. If the forces are identified, then how much your structure will deform, it can be identified by using this beautiful equations. So these equations are derived centuries and we will be using this equation in order to find them. Equilibrium equation crudely relates the stresses developed in body to the forces and moment applied on it. So equilibrium equation deals forces and moment applied on it. What does compatibility equation deals with? It places restrictions on how the strain can vary over the body so that the continuous displacement, see here compatibility equation, displacement is being encountered here, field could be found for assumed strain field, and the strain displacement relations allows one to compute the strain in the displacement. So this equation used to identify the strain, and constitutive relations gives the value of stresses for the known value of strain or vice versa. So this constitutive relation gives, if you know stress you can find strain, or if you know strain you can find stress. So there is a relation. This relation is known as constitutive relation. Okay. So we have understood the concept of this. Well, throughout this syllabus you will be dealing with the lines. So you will be not given any buildings as your problem, only these kind of lines will be there. So if these are all known as columns, the vertical lines are known as columns, this is a building, only the frames will be considered. So in your problems, if you are dealing problems further, so your structure will only be look like this, not the way you see. So the loads will be indicated like this. If it is a uniformly distributed load, it will be indicated as an arrow which is equal, and see this is the representation while you are dealing with the beam, and this is uniformly varying load. say for example earthquake force is applying in a structure. So this will be 0. The earthquake force will be 0 at foundation and it will be maximum at the top floor. The top floor deforms more. So due to the earthquake load. So these loads vary. So this is known as uniformly varying load. Earthquake wind loads are varying load. And concentrated couple. So if you have a rotation force at your building, you will be having a couple like this, and distributed couple. If you are having 2 or more rotation loads, the loads will be considered like this, and only the amount is written here. Total load amount is written here. And we will further in this analysis topic, you will be considering the loads, external loads like this. You will be identifying how much of bending moment is happening inside the beam member, how much of bending moment is there in column member, or how much of shear force, what is the reaction. These are all the force. Earthquake loads are forces, and due to these forces the structure is being connected to the ground. So what is the reaction? So if the reaction is equal, then your structure is under equilibrium. Okay. So this is the structural representation. You can see this is the practical structure which you see in a bridge. So there is a bridge deck here, and there will be elastomeric pads. These are all rubber pads will be there. So this is a symbolic representation of roller support. So nowhere you can see rollers in a support. So this is a symbolic representation. If there is a elastomeric pads are there, what will happen during the movement of the vehicles? So these pads moves towards the direction of force and it loads, and forces and moment acting. Further, in a free body diagram, this roller support has only one reaction, that is upward. So if you place any load upward and downward, it can take. If you place a load in horizontal direction, it will move, it does not take any load. So that is why it has only one reaction. Okay, if there is any structure like this, you can see steel trusses where the joint in a truss like this. So this is a symbolic representation of a hinged support. So wherever you find a hinged support in your structural analysis problem, this look like this picture practically. And in a free body diagram, this hinged structure has two reactions, that is vertical and horizontal. If you place a moment here, it does not take a moment. Okay, then this is a foundation. You can see a building foundation. The building foundation is otherwise known as fixed end. So this fixed end can take three reactions. So that is, it can take load in vertical, horizontal, also in terms of moment. So this is the representation. Also, if a structure is like this, see, this is a bridge. A bridge has two foundations, and this two foundation is considered as a fixed joint, and the place where you have elastomeric pads will be having roller support. So this will be your actual support, and this will be your mathematical model. So in a problem you will be given a structure like this. So the structure will not be like this. This is a representation. You will be constructing a structure like this. So this is known as structural representation. So I hope that I explained the concept between the reality and the analytical conditions, and what are all the things which has to be understood before going to dealing with your structures. So I hope you enjoyed this session, and happy learning. See you again. Thank you.